is it worth it to know yourself? Is it worth your time? Does it worth the sacrifice? And that's what I want to talk about today. Knowing yourself, acknowledging yourself, and being present by being yourself. You know? Knowing yourself, basically, to put it in the simplest form, it's knowing the strength, the weaknesses, the threats that you have, and the opportunities that you might gain as you being yourself, right? But I want to break it down even further, you know. So knowing yourself is not only about like the strengths, the weaknesses, threats, and opportunities. It is a universal thing, you know. From the moment you are born, from the moment you come to this earth, you are given one reason and one reason only. You are on a quest to find who you really are and why you are required to become that person. How are you going to contribute to the society? How are you going to be useful to the world, to the universe as a whole, right? And, you know, from the moment we are young, you know, we get questions like, what do you want to become when you grow up? And that's what majority of people start to think when they hear that question. They start to think that, what is it that you want to become as a person? Who are you? So they take that question as, who are you? How are you going to contribute to the society? But here's the thing about the question. The question of what is it that you want to become when you grow up, it kind of answers for how are you going to contribute to the society. You know, how are you going to be useful to the society and the community? But the other one of trying to find yourself, it never gets asked a lot. You know, not a lot of people ask that question. You know, who are you truly? Honestly, so who are you? So I've also encountered that phase of my life where I've asked myself to say, who am I? You know, what is it that I want in life? What is it that I'm chasing? Does it have to be purpose? You know, does it have to be meaningful to the world? Does it have to be meaningful to me? And, you know, you get to ask a lot of questions. But those questions comes with the process of you finding yourself. You know, so when you start to maneuver life, you gain certain traits that teach you how to become the better you, how to become the true you. And to answer the question, yes, it is worth it to know who you are. But remember, you're not doing any favors for the society, nor the community, nor your family. You're doing it for yourself, right? And it might sound selfish the way I've said it, but it's just reality itself, you know. So it is worth it to an extent that it has advantages and it has its own disadvantages, right? The advantage of knowing and understanding and acknowledging self. It comes with how you position yourself through life to get through certain situations and getting to the stage where you want to be. At the other hand, the disadvantage is that the society, and I want you to listen to this carefully. The society doesn't know the real you yet, nor do you yourself. Right now, you are the person. In fact, you are giving out the appearance of other people's opinion on how they believe they should perceive you and see you. You are not you yet. You haven't shed the skin. You are a created person, a manifestation of other people's opinions. From a young age, you're expected to do certain things a certain way is because you've been told by the parents to do so, or guardians to do so. From age 5 to 12, you've been told how to perceive life, how to act, how to behave when you're around certain people. For example, we all grew up with this idea that we are taught, be kind and you'll get rewarded by the end of the day. As long as you're kind to someone, just know that something is gonna be given back to you. That is what we all grew up in. Kindness gives you rewards. But when you start to become old, you start to realize that no, man, in fact, kindness is perceived to be a weak point or a weak trait or an ability to have. It's either you are in a workplace, you are a businessman, a lawyer, whatever you might be. Kindness won't get you reward, but it'll always put you down. So that's what I'm trying to explain here, that you are created by these opinions of other people. You are shaped by their opinions. You are shaped about how the world believes how they should see you. But the minute you start to become yourself, it's because, remember, they haven't seen the real you. They start to get scared. They start to get anxious. They start to get, distant a little bit. The reason they do this is because they haven't seen the true you. So that's the disadvantage. And the reason I say it's the disadvantage, I'm not saying you should try to make them understand who you are. I'm saying for those who have been longing for external validation, when they hit that point where they start to become their real self, now the community starts to go a little bit distant. They take a step back. They start to question, who are you? They start to give you all these kind of opinions on why you should stop doing this and doing that. And for a person who has been living in a world where they've always been validated by other people, it kind of bashes them, it kind of pushes them down. It lowers their confidence, it lowers their self-esteem, So it's a disadvantage coming to that point. But for some, it won't be a disadvantage. I mean, they know that when you get to a certain point, not everyone's gonna agree with you. And it is part of life not to have everyone agree with you. At some point, you are not going to agree with yourself, and especially finding yourself more special. when you're going through the journey of trying to find yourself, there are points in time you feel like, but this is not me. And when you go through that point, I want you to remember that the old you wants you to go back to you being comfortable. It wants you to go back to you being that previous person, that previous energy, that previous thinker, that previous actionable person. For example, take someone who has been like a mastermind at things. They always have these great ideas on how to start businesses. They have information on how to start business and how to run them, on how to negotiate on deals and how to, all of that. But it comes to reality, the old self keeps saying that, man, when you want to start that business, everyone's gonna be like, you are making yourself look better than others. You are making yourself look like you are smarter than others. It's because now you are living in a society where you are shaped not to think like a businessman. You are shaped not to know how to run a business, not to know how to negotiate on business deals. But when that true self comes out and says, bro, like I wanna start a business. I'm tired of working 9 to 5s. I wanna become my own manager. I wanna become my own CEO. I wanna become my own founder of my own company. I wanna pay people to work for me. And when the society hears that, for them, it's something they don't expect from you. So they kind of take a step back and say, bro, you are delusional. Illusions are playing with your mind. It's because now they are not used to the real you. And the real you is that part of you that you always sit with yourself at night when you wander through your thoughts. That's the real you. That's the real you. And we must learn how to position our mind into becoming the real person that you want to become. Not what the society wants. Because it is easy to want and try to fit in a crowd. But when the crowd starts to disperse, we have nowhere to go. So you might as well build a safe house where you know that you are comfortable alone and you are taking your own journey. No one is telling you how to maneuver through your own journey. No one is telling you how to make decisions on anything. So again, I say it is worth it. But it comes with responsibility. It comes with consequences. And consequences is something that you're gonna face in your life. Always. Like I've said, there are points you're gonna doubt yourself. There are points you're gonna feel like this is not the real me. Those kind of things, they're part of the journey. It's just that they're trying to mold you to become that person that you have to be. Everything that may seem as a weakness is there for you to use it as an opportunity to create it into a strength. Don't perceive a weakness as a weakness unless it will tell your brain, your soul, that is a weakness. And when you take something as a weakness, it will become a weakness to your life until you die. So sometimes what you need is to turn pain into power. turn weakness into strength, turn threats into opportunities. That's what you are required to do. So also knowing yourself and the community being distant, the society being distant, you have to turn it into a power, an advantage, a privilege for you. To say, if they're being distant, they're giving me time to find myself more. If the community is starting to become distant, if my friends are starting to become distant from me, they are giving me time to find myself more and understand myself better. You know, you didn't come to this earth to agree with everyone. You didn't come to this earth to listen to anyone's rules. You know, that mentality that we grew up with, being told that you have to be kind, you have to follow rules, you have to follow the law, it was created so that you can never find yourself. You must find yourself in a way that you are going to go against the world. You know, the world will turn the back on you. You have to turn the back on the world. It's just simple. But if you want to play by the rules, you'll never understand the game. You know, you'll never understand the game. You will always constantly be confused about who are you, what is it that you're trying to find. You will end up doing everything that everyone is doing. When the new trend comes out, you want to do it. When the new challenge comes out, you want to do it. You are just everywhere. You are just a lost cause. And people who follow other people, they are not very much seen. You are not seen. We are just part of the herd. You know. But the leader of the herd, we can see, is controlling his own herd, is controlling his own people, telling them where to go and where not to go. And I don't think finding yourself comes with following someone's actions, following someone's decision making. It means you must take a stand for yourself and say, I am willing to put 100% of my energy into finding myself. It means if I feel like I want to play soccer and it's my career, do it. If you find out that you're not really good at it, find something else to do. There are millions and millions of things that you can do in this world. You have hands, you have feet, you have the brain, you have the eyes, you have the nose, you have the teeth, you have the mouth, you have everything that you are required. There is no job that you can't do when you are fully functionable. And even those who are half functionable, they can still manage to do what they want to do. You know. So it's all about the ability to take a stand and say, I'm willing to find myself, even though there are consequences of not me being able to agree with someone 5 years later or 10 years later down the road. You must have the willpower to find yourself. You must go through consequences to be molded to become the better version. You cannot tell me that you want to become that very person that you were last year. And there's this saying that new year, new me, but I keep seeing people doing the same thing. Why aren't we changing something? Why aren't we changing? Let's break the algorithm for once. Do something new, something that no one has ever expected from you. Surprise the world, surprise yourself that, actually I have much of this potential. I have much of this ability. I can do this, I can do that, I can talk, I have charisma. Oh, I can negotiate. Oh, I can. That's the beauty of finding yourself. You learn more about yourself. You learn more about your abilities. You learn more about your traits. You learn more about the strengths, the weaknesses, the threats that may come, the opportunities that may present themselves. But if we are stuck in this loop of not looking sideways but always our eyes up front, you will never see the whole world. You'll never see the whole world. Cristiano Ronaldo, he made a choice to say, I'm not going to be sweeping the streets every single day. I'm going to change my life for the better. You know, it's because he realized that he needed to find himself. And finding yourself, it cannot always be about the career that you choose. It can be anything. You can still work 9 to 5, but realize that you are this kind of a person. You can become look, you don't have to become a millionaire or billionaire. You don't have to become rich to find yourself. What you require to find yourself is the space. You know, it's the space. Sometimes you gotta learn how to set boundaries and say, guys, this time is for me. You know, this particular day and day, it's for me. I need to recollect my thoughts. I need to revise on what have I been consuming lately. I need to do a study. You know, like when you go on YouTube, there's a history. When you go on your history, you can start to see that there's an algorithm that has been built on what kind of content you consume. And remember, what you consume is what you become. You know, so same thing as your thoughts, same thing as everything that you do. Get time to meditate. When you go through meditation, you're recollecting the thoughts that you've been having lately. You can better understand that I'm frequently thinking about this thing. Then let me try and find out what this thing can do and contribute to myself, to my soul, to my mind, to my body. Will it help me grow spiritually? Will it help me grow physically? Will it balance the equation that I'm trying to solve? So the question is not the purpose that you're looking for. The question is not what is it that I must fulfill in my life. The question is, who am I? It was never about purpose. It was never about you being useful to the society. It was never about any of those things. It was only about, who am I? You know, who am I?